No, I seriously wonder if 70s is considered the golden era of Hollywood because in my experience it should. I'm a that fancy word cinephile or howsoever you pronounce it. I've been watching movies, all kinds of movies, action, drama, artsy films, very commercial films, from years now. I'm totally into movies, and I'm not into Netflix or any of those platforms. I do not watch TV, these web series at all, almost at all. I'm still sticking to movies. It's hard to find good movies on these OTT platforms, but I somehow manage. But something that did not happen at all, maybe till around 2016, is that I never really left movies midway. Even if I were not liking a movie, I was still finishing those movies and then making up my mind whether I liked it or not, whether I should watch it again or not. Because back in those days, we used to watch the same movies over and over again. We did not have so many options like we do today. But over the last 4 5 years, I have not been able to finish so many movies. I'm watching a movie and midway I'm like, okay, let me do some Facebook for a while. Let me spend some time on YouTube and I'll resume that film. And I do not do that. There are movies that I started watching in 2016. I never got back to them. And this has happened umpteen number of times. But Netflix is not the reason for them. That is because the movies seem to have run out of ideas. So I watched News of the World today, starring Tom Hanks, directed by Paul Greengrass. I mean, I don't. Maybe I'm butchering his name. I'm sorry for that. And this thing struck me because News of the World is a highly acclaimed movie. It has, for example, it has got a meta score of 74. Critics have unanimously praised the film. And that makes me wonder, have Hollywood standards really fallen that low that films like News of the World is blowing people's mind away? Or, like the title suggests, was 70s really the golden era? And because we cannot make movies like those anymore now, we are settling with News of the World. See, News of the World is like, they took 1,000 Western movie cliches and stitched them together to make this, to create this film. And then they also throw in Tom Hanks, and the storyline of Tom Hanks coming across an orphan child, and his ultimate goal is to take that child to his parents or to a family that that child belongs to. There is not a speck of originality in News of the World. It's like one cliche after another. News of the World is like a factory churning out cliches after cliches. And now I know, after watching this movie, I had this awakening. That okay, now I know why I have been leaving so many films midway. And then I started watching films from 70s. Strangely enough, I mean, I have watched old films, 50s films, 60s films, 80s films. For some reason, 70s 70s in Hollywood remained like an unexplored territory for me. And suddenly I have rediscovered my love for movies because Hollywood made some exceptionally great films in that era. You name it, the China Syndrome, uh, the day of the Jackal, Night Moves, Network, and many others. 70s, based on my experience with Hollywood, because I have watched movies across all decades, starting from 50s, sometimes a couple of movies before that. I don't think anything was creatively richer, or there were better stories told in any era than the 70s. If you, okay, the four names that I threw, that I mentioned, just watch those four films and you will get an idea that Hollywood of today, the quality of the films that are being churned out from Hollywood has declined so terribly. I sit down to watch a movie and I do not get hooked. It has been missing. As a movie fan, I really miss being hooked to movies. Subscribe to Legend Martini for your daily dose of lifestyle, movies, fashion, career, health and wellness, and everything else under the sun. Don't forget to hit the bell icon.